guys, it's Rebecca. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. Today's video is going to be a long one, if you guys saw by the thumbnail. This is going to be my July wrap-up, my reading rush wrap-up, my A to C reading challenge update number 7, and my Pop Sugar challenge update as well. So there's a lot of like reading stuff going on that I need to wrap up for the month of July, just because there was a lot of stuff going on. So I read a total of 14 books in July, which is kind of unreal. I've never read that much before. I think my best reading month has been 8 books. So 14 is a lot. And like I said, I did participate in the reading rush, aka the booktubeathon. They changed the name this year, and so I was able to read 6 books during that 1 week. So I'm really impressed with that. The other 2, I read 2 graphic novels and then other 6 books. I will say though that for the reading rush, I did listen to all the 6 books on audio, just because of work, my daily life, there was no way I was going to be able to read 6 books, having everything that I need to do in my day-to-day, and along with the booktubeathon. So I did listen to the audiobook for those 6 books, and I hope that you guys don't mind. So I'm gonna go super fast on the plot for these books. My Goodreads is always linked down below, so if you guys want to know more about the books, you guys can just go click in there, and then you guys will find all the information. So I think I will start with my wrap-up for the reading rush. If you guys didn't know, the reading rush or booktubeathon was created by a few booktubers, and I think this is the 5th year that they've done this, I think. And I like to participate in all of them. Last year I did a vlog where I kind of wrapped it up, but I just had so much going on that I started vlogging like daily updates, but they felt like everything I was repeating myself over and over again every day. So I scratched that, and I figured I would just let you guys know here. So anyway, I read 6 books for the reading rush. The first challenge that I completed was for the challenge of read a book and watch its movie adaptation. So I kind of completed half of this challenge. I read The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas, and you guys know this was turned into a movie. I really enjoyed this book. I think I did give it a 5 out of 5. I was a little bit hesitant going into reading this book because it has a lot of hype and because of the subject matter that it is. So I was going in a little bit cautious, a little bit sensitive as to what the book was about, but I really did enjoy it. I read it super fast. However, I was really upset that I wasn't able to stream it. It's not on iTunes. It's available for purchase everywhere, but it's not available to stream. It is available to stream through HBO because I saw it there, but I don't have HBO subscription, so I wasn't able to watch it. I couldn't find it on Redbox, so I read it on Monday going into Tuesday, but then I wanted to watch it on Saturday or Sunday, but I wasn't able to find it, so I only completed half of it. Then the next book that I read completed 2 challenges. One was for a character that's not human, and a book that you read in the same place during the whole time that you read it. And for that I went with The Dogs of Christmas by W. Bruce Cameron. I love all his books. All his books make me cry, make me tear up. I love dogs, if you guys didn't know that already. So this book is about this little dog. What is her name? Lucy. It's about Lucy and Lucy's owner. And this is just beautiful. I was kind of saving this book for around the holidays because there's another reading, a readathon during the holidays, and there's always like a Christmassy book that you need to read, and I was saving that for this book for that. But this was I didn't want to read any fantasy because fantasy books are kind of heavy for me during readathons. I wanted to read just light and fluffy books. Anyway, I read this in 1 sitting because it's really small, very short book, and it's non-human, so I got 2 challenges out of this guy. Then I completed for the challenge of book you meant to read last year. I could really pick anything from my TBR, but this I really wanted to read because we started talking about this at work during Christmas time. A coworker recommended it to me, and I purchased it, but I never read it, and I finally got to it, and I'm talking about You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. I didn't like this book, unfortunately. I gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars. This is supposed to be like a self-help, self-improving, motivational type book, but I just didn't like it. Some of the ideas that she was talking about, it just didn't sit well with me. I didn't think it's worth the hype. I know she has 2 other books, You're a Badass at Making Money and You're a Badass Every Day, but I won't be reading those other 2 books. I didn't really care for this one. Then for the challenge of pick a book with purple on the cover, I went with Star Island by Carl Hiaasen. And I don't know if you guys will be able to tell, but there's a sunset in the back and the reflection of the glasses, and you guys can see there's like little purple in the back. I was hoping this book was such a disappointment. I gave it 3 stars because I finished it, but this book was so disappointing to me. It says here that it's fast moving and makes you laugh out loud. No, maybe because it's supposed to be a satire for celebrities and their lives, but I didn't get the humor. I just didn't find it funny at all. I was kind of bored. This story follows this celebrity and her body double and a paparazzi person who kidnaps the body double thinking that it's the actual, like the real celebrity, because the celebrity made me think of like, she's kind of like Lindsay Lohan when she went all crazy and she tried to make a comeback. That's what this girl is about. She has been a celebrity since she was like, I think 13 or 14 years old. She's now in her 20s, and you know, she's gone down that spiral of drugs and alcohol, and just nobody wants to work with her, and she's trying to make a comeback and she's not doing a very good job. And then this happens to her body double, and it's just, it sounded really interesting, and like I said, it says here that it makes you laugh out loud. I was really hoping that would be funny, a funny book, but I'm pretty sure this is gonna be one of those books that I declutter at the end of the year. At the end of the year, I get rid of a bunch of books to clear room in my shelves, but I see myself, and I see myself pulling this book from my shelf. I just I was disappointed. I was hoping it'd be a lot funnier. Then for the challenge of read an author's first book, I went with Again But Better by Christine Riccio. You guys know she is a booktuber and I love her. I think she's really funny. And this is her first book that she has published. I was hoping to read it a little bit later on, but I figured what a best time to read it than to complete this challenge. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed this book. I'm surprised. There's a lot of hate comments surrounding this book, how it's just like Anna and the French Kiss, how they just pictured Christine, but it had some things that I could see where people could see this is just like Anna and the French Kiss, and I could see how people could picture Christine when they were reading about Shane, but I didn't mind it. I flew through this. It was so funny. I didn't mind the pop culture references. A lot of people found that really annoying. They felt like she overdid it. I didn't though. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was really fun, and it was cheesy, but not like unbearably cheesy. It was like enjoyably cheesy. Does that mean? You guys know what I mean? I don't know. This book follows Shane, who is kind of very introverted and decides to go away to London in a kind of like a internship, but she's a pre-med student, but she's telling her parents that it's a pre-med program when in reality it's a writing program. So it's a lot of fun. I liked it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I do recommend it. And the last challenge that I completed was to read a book with 5 or more words in the title, and I went with The Loveliest Chocolate Shop in Paris by Jenny Colgan, and that's what this guy looks like. I finished this on Sunday morning, and this book was a lot of fun. It has a blurb here by Sophie Kinsella, which I was really hoping it would be really good. I gave it 3 stars. It did make me laugh in some areas, like actually laugh out loud, but I thought it was okay. It's not like Sophie Kinsella good, but it was still very enjoyable. This book follows this girl who has an accident. She works in a chocolate factory, and she has an accident, and she ends up losing her job, and a friend of hers helps her find another job in a little chocolatier place in Paris. And she goes to Paris. She kind of has not like low self-esteem, but she's not like the most confident person, and it's kind of like she reminded me a lot of I want to say her name's Louisa from Me Before You. How, you know, meeting Will makes her more confident, and like her life changes because of him. And in this book it's the same thing. Some things happen, she meets new people, and she develops more confidence, and I really enjoyed that. Like I said, it's not Sophie Kinsella good, but it's still a good chick lit book. Now for the A to C reading challenge portion of this, as of last update, I had 6 letters of the alphabet left, and unfortunately this month, even though I read 14 books, I only completed 2 more letters. I completed the letter You Are a Badass. I mean Y for You Are a Badass, so that's this one. I already talked about that one. And then I also completed the letter R, and for that I read Renegades by Marissa Mayer. I was really hoping to enjoy this book, like to love it, because you guys know I'm a huge Avengers fan. I love that whole movie franchise. And a lot of people were comparing this to that, but it's not quite that. This talks about a group of superheroes and a group of rebels trying to take down the superheroes. And it didn't quite pack a punch like I expected it. I do have Arch Enemy, so I'm hoping to read that next month while this is fresh in my mind. But I don't remember my rating on Goodreads, but I didn't love it as much as everybody thought. This is a big boy. I did listen to this on audiobook, and has dual perspective narrator, so that's good. And I remember this took me about 3 or 4 tries on the audiobook to read it, to really get into it, because I just could not get into it. I'm hoping that Arch Enemies will be a little bit different, since I kind of know already the world. I don't know if it's Stephanie Meyer's writing, because I remember Cinder also took me about 3 tries starting that book, because I just couldn't get into it. So maybe it's the author. There must be something about her writing that just doesn't click in my brain. I don't know, but anyway, I'm gonna continue on with Arch Enemies. I think that's the final book in the duology. I don't think there's any more books in the series, but I'm happy that I got at least 1 letter completed. Now for my BuzzFeed reading challenge, this is a bunch of prompts that I'm trying to read books that fit each prompt, and I was able to complete 4. I don't remember how many I have left, but I completed for the book, for the prompt of a book about a hobby and a book set on a college/university. And for that I went with Again But Better. Like I told you guys, it's not really a college or university, but she is in school, and it's a program for school. And a book about a hobby. She's a pre-med student, but she enjoys writing, and she has a blog, and that's her hobby. So I figured this fit. Then for the prompt of a book featuring an extinct/imaginary creature, I went with To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Crystal. I don't want to get too much into this conversation that, you know, mermaids are real or not. There's people who believe they're real, there's people who don't believe they're real, but anyway, this is a reimagining of The Little Mermaid, but it's a really, really dark reimagining of The Little Mermaid. When they describe how the sirens eat people, like I was just like, whoa, this is really dark. I wasn't expecting it. I really did enjoy it. It's a nice take on sirens. There's a difference between a siren and a mermaid, and I really enjoyed it. It took me by surprise. Really enjoyed it, and I think I recommend it. And the last book that I read for the prompts was an Own Voices book. Now I had to Google like what does Own Voices mean, and it means like a book that talks about people who are marginalized. And for that I went with The Hate You Give. This was on the list of those of books that fit an Own Voices category, so that was a nice surprise. I wasn't expecting it, but hey, it fit. And the other 6 books that I have here, I'm gonna go through them really fast. They don't fit any of the letters, categories, prompts, or challenges for the reading rush, reading challenge, and reading prompts. I read volumes 5 and 6 of Saga. I really enjoyed volume 6. Volume 5, I was kind of like, why am I reading this? This is not like, I don't feel like I should keep going with this one. Just the storyline didn't really grasp me. However, when I got to version or chapter volume 6, whatever, the plot line on this one, I feel like it moved a lot faster than this one, and I read this super fast, and this made me want to go ahead and pick up volumes 6, 7, 8, and 9. I think there's only 9 so far. I don't know when I'm gonna pick them up, but so far I think these are a go. They're very adult comic books, so just be aware of that. Then I also read Isla and the Happily Ever After by Stephanie Perkins. This is the 3rd book of the Stephanie Perkins series. Honestly, guys, I don't remember what this book is about. I'm sorry. I read it pretty early on in the month. But it was my least, I remember it being my least favorite. And it's funny that I don't remember it because I just read it this month, and I can clearly remember, like, I remember Anna and the French Kiss and Lola and the Boy Next Door very vividly in my head. And it's so weird that I don't remember any of this. So I think it's because either I read too much this month, or this book just didn't make an impact on me, and I didn't really care for it. So I think I gave it 3 stars, but I don't even remember why. Then I read Night Film by Marisha Paso. This book is really creepy. Sometimes this book follows this reporter who's trying to solve the mystery of this celebrity suicide. And then he's trying to find people, like, I'm really bad at not giving spoilers, but things start happening once he starts investigating the suicide, because he wants to prove that it was a suicide. Like, there's people who think that she was murdered. Not everybody believes she committed suicide. So he's trying to find out what really happened, and he starts interviewing people that had contact with her on her last days. And then things start happening to him while he starts investigating. Some supernatural, spiritual things like start happening to him. It's really creepy. I really enjoyed it. I recommend it if you like creepy, spooky books. Then I also read After the Snow by Susanna Constantine. I didn't like this book. I think I gave it 2 stars on Goodreads. It says here on the cover, it says Secret, Scandal, and Shame. And a whole lot of nothing happens in this book. There's really no reveal. Our main character learns nothing at the end. She's still completely clueless. And I just didn't like it. It's not worth it. Even though it's a skinny book, it's a really fast read. It has pretty big typing and spacing in the pages, but I don't recommend it. I don't think it's a good book. And then last but not least, I reread a book, and I reread The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I reread this because I've never reread it. I have reread Catching Fire, and I've reread Mockingjay, but I've never reread The Hunger Games, and I just loved it as much as I did the first time around. Again, I read it in one sitting, and I read this because I read After the Snow and Renegades. Those were the first 2 books that I read in the month. And I was just kind of really disappointed that I was reading mediocre books, and I just wanted to read something really good that was gonna I was afraid I was gonna go into a reading slump. So I wanted to avoid that, so that's why I picked this up. I figured I would still love it, and I did, and I'm so glad that I did, because I was able to read 14 books. I didn't go in a slump. So 5 out of 5 stars. I still love it. So there you go, guys. Oh my goodness, this is the longest reading wrap-up I've ever done. I hope you guys are still with me. Let me know what you guys read, and if you participated in the reading rush, what challenges did you complete? Let me know everything in the comments below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.